there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Candid Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evans Okinyi. I'm so glad that you are actually joining us for these conversations that we hope will actually shape how our government is run. And of course, we are still requesting that in case you're watching us for the first time and you've not subscribed, kindly subscribe to our channel here, and of course hit that button so that whenever we upload any of our videos, then YouTube will actually inform you and alert you on the same. Now, I'm joined by the one and only, the most sought after political analyst and commentator, Professor Herman Manyora from the University of Nairobi. Prof, how are you?
Good.
Welcome to the show, Prof.
Thank you.
How is your year so far?
Wonderful.
January?
Wonderful.
People are lamenting left, right, and center, saying
we
that
always do the same.
This year is taking too long.
Well, no.
They're saying
before you know what's happening is over, and you should be talking about another January.
January, they say. And we've been warned that tough times are
Things
ahead.
have always been tough. They may be a little tougher now, fine, but we'll manage.
And we should actually brace ourselves for that as a country.
Yes.
Recently, I saw Right Honorable Raila Odinga pay a visit to UK's High Commissioner, Jane Marriott. I mean, a number of Kenyans have gone bare knuckle on him. One, some people do think that it's a little bit cheap for him to visit Jane, but others also do say that perhaps it was very significant in that they had to hold a number of discussions and talks. From what Raila posted, they were talking about making some sort of discussions on how best this country can relate and focus on things of which they would want to actually strengthen the opposition, how the opposition in this country can actually go about doing its duties properly. What do you read from Raila's meeting with UK's High Commissioner?
The UK, I think, is the world's sixth largest economy or something like that. It is not a small country. It is head of the Commonwealth. The British High Commissioner represents the UK here. And therefore she is by no means a small person. Therefore the meeting, Raila meeting her, cannot be seen to be cheap by any stretch of imagination. Meeting the representative of the UK cannot be a cheap thing. In fact, there are many people who will want to meet her, and they will be on the waiting list for long periods of time. Raila himself is not just a national figure. Raila is an international figure. And therefore, if Raila were to meet ambassadors from these influential countries, I wouldn't find anything wrong with that.
What would you tell those who believe that such a meeting would perhaps cripple the opposition rather than strengthen it?
I think sharing and having a conversation is not the same thing as saying you are subjecting yourself to somebody. It's not the same thing as saying you are going to come from there with goodies. You know, some people think if you go to the High Commissioner, you'll come with bags of money or something like that, or projects. No, not that way. Neither does it mean he will influence your thinking. Of course, Raila is critical in this country, and anybody who stands to benefit from peace will look out for Raila. And the British government, just like other major governments in the world, will want a peaceful country, in fact, for selfish reasons. So if talking to Raila drives that agenda.
A number of people tend to believe that Raila's foreign policy before elections was not actually kind of aligned to the UK and the United States of America. And partly other people blame that to the kind of loss that he suffered. What then do you think engaging these people right now would help, if anything is to go back?
I don't think Raila was anti the West, anti US and UK and so on and so forth.
A number of people say that he was pro-China for that matter.
No, or pro-China.
Ruto was anti-China and
think
pro the West.
The Raila I know belongs to the old non-aligned movement of relating with countries for mutual benefit of both countries. all of bilateral and multilateral relationship that really doesn't leave Kenya looking badly exploited. I think that's a Raila I know. So what you perhaps mean is that it's becoming almost clear, and the people feel and believe that the UK and the US were prominent among countries and foreign institutions that didn't seem to support Raila. And in fact, on the contrary, could have aided Raila's opponent. That's not to say Raila had anything against them. Yeah.
Now, then a number of dailies in this country, definitely.
Of course, unless you're okay, but I will say something. Yeah.
A number of dailies in this country have reported that we've seen Raila kind of tone his kind of approach. He has a little bit toned down on the way he used to operate as an opposition leader in this country, because for a long time that's what we've known him. And then the Raila we've known is one who is always aggressive. One who would actually ensure that he keeps the government of the day on check and up to date with a number of things taking place within the country. A number of dailies have reported that there is a way in which some of these Western countries are trying to talk to him, and as a result, we've seen Raila toned down. You saw the other time when he was supposed to organize a parallel rally to the function of the president, he jetted out of the country and went to the US actually upon the invitation of Joe Biden, as we were told at that particular moment. And this time round, he's also had that kind of meeting with Jane Marriott. Now, a number of people would rather say that we've seen Raila tone down on his attacks on the government, and some of these interventions by the West could be responsible for that. What's your take on that?
It's possible, possible, and that's how politics is played at an international level. Raila himself is a seasoned politician. I can't take it upon myself to tell him how to play his politics. I could have my own reservations. What I do know is when Raila went into a handshake with Uhuru Kenyatta, many people were disappointed, extremely disappointed. It is a testimony of his toughness and a magical touch on politics that he was able to reclaim back that constituency, which he almost lost it. I don't know whether he wants to stretch his luck too far, because I believe strongly, should Raila attempt, for whatever reason, to want to engage with Ruto in the manner he engaged with Uhuru, I think he will lose his following, and to a large extent he will lose his reputation. I think if Raila tried to go in the direction you are suggesting, he will end his political career, long political career. Never sad note.
So do you see him heading that direction?
I already told you Raila is a political animal. I'm not in a position to judge Raila. Only I'm saying, should he try to move in the direction desirable and as good and as necessary as it may be, depending on how you look at it, whatever convictions there are, whether it's pushed by America, UK, or whatever it is, or whether Ruto is too persuasive, or whether they are gains for him to make, for the region, for himself, whatever reasons. If Raila went to something akin to the handshake, this one I can say without fear of doubt, he will end his political career very miserably. He will go even to a funeral and people will shout him down. I felt it. You know, Mimi, I have the ability to assess what's going on the ground. I can feel people. I could feel the pain people went through when he went in that handshake. I could feel it. I could feel the people. I could see it. And you could see the struggle he had to engage in to tell people, no. We are okay. We know where we are going. And to bring them back into the fold. Not all of them, though. During the last election, Part of the reasons why, from where I come from, my home, why some of these border riders, some of these young people voted for Ruto, the hustler. They told us, you are man, they call him my man. You are guys, let us down. When the government was his for the taking, he went into a handshake with Raila, with Ruto. So their votes Raila lost because of that handshake. Everybody, including him, he knows that handshake was a major sacrifice on his part. It's a testimony of his political genius that he survived that handshake. If he were to attempt anything, however desirable, however well supported by right-thinking Kenyans, that'll be the end of him politically. He will end. You know, you've seen some of these politicians who end their political career so badly. They look so miserable. If somebody told you this is Raila, you say, what? Is this the Raila I used to hear? That is how it should be. So my advice to Raila would be, if you see merit in working with the government, do so very cautiously. Do so knowing very well there are many people who will interpret it to mean betrayal, selfishness, and all those adjectives. Yeah.
Not once, not twice, the president has been out here saying that he does not want a mongrel kind of government, similar to what actually took place, of course, by that describing the period that we had during the handshake, where the opposition was in the government and the government was in opposition, and that kind of confusion. And he says here very well that those in opposition should remain in opposition and those in government should remain in government. So each and everybody should play their role. Now here comes the situation by now. I wonder why you saw the kind of attempt the president proposed, actually something to do with the creation of the position of the official opposition in the constitution, and he has actually we've also seen him do a number of things, certainly, and Kenyans are reading things from some of these steps, even going by the creation of that post alone. And some people are saying that perhaps he's trying to woo the opposition and perhaps enable them to not necessarily stick to their role of opposition, but then in a manner weaken them, because here is a situation whereby they'll be paid by the government of the day. So how comes, what do you think the president is going to reap from weakening opposition, if that is what he's supposed to do?
Every political leader will pay anything to ride without an opposition. It's natural. Even the most developed democracies, they go all out to ensure there is little opposition, if any, through various strategies. So Ruto is no exception. Ruto has shown from day one he will be a happy president if there was no opposition. Forget about what he's saying, what he has done. How do you want opposition when you go out to grab opposition leaders the way he started from day one, from Northeast, and all of them, grab them? When you get people, and Azimio has the numbers to produce the leader of the majority in parliament, and you use a speaker and you cut corners.
So you think it was not sincere?
That's not sincere, and I've said as much. That's sincere. The numbers were, the person who formed the opposition, leader of the, not leader of the majority in house, was Azimio. They had the numbers. There were people who had indicated they wanted to move out of Azimio, but that's not how the law works. Until such a time you are free to do so, because you had been held captive by your own agreements, and as a gestor of political parties, there's no way. So you use Speaker Wetangula to do that, which is illegal, so that you control the House, so that there's no opposition. Then you get out and say you want opposition. So those kind of things, and that situation arose because the president had gone out to seduce Azimio lawmakers to bring them to his side, reducing the numbers of Azimio, except that that was not recognized by law. Because to move out of Azimio, you needed 3 months. That 3 months had not elapsed. And a host of many other things the president is, like, for example, CDF is completely unconstitutional. And the Supreme Court has said. So by giving Parliament CDF in a very unconstitutional way, using your Attorney General, you want to compromise Parliament so that they cannot throw barbs at you. They cannot oppose you, because MPs hold CDF so dear. Because without money, that money to play around with and run in constituencies like kings and queens, they have a problem managing their politics and the re-elections in the future. So, you know, if I do this, which is unconstitutional, I'll have MP. So, everything, many things the president has done do not convince me that he's out to have an opposition. And I wouldn't blame him, because nobody wants an opposition. He'll be the first person.
So do you then think that perhaps the president has a hand in this kind of meetings that already Raila is having with the West, and of course a number of Kenyans?
It's possible. It's possible. This is politics. You can tell the Germans and the Americans and the British and the Iranians, whoever they are, and tell them, please help me, tell me this man for me. So I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow I hear Raila has been given a UN appointment. I wouldn't be surprised. Politicians, the world over, politicians are politicians. So Raila should not be seen to be a very different politician from other politicians. Yeah, he can be compromised.
No. 2027 is a little bit just about here. And of course, Kenyans perhaps may be thinking that we're just from another elections, and here we are. Let's wait until we reach that time. But already our politicians are strategizing. And of course, President Ruto is working on how he's going to retain his seat in 2027. Perhaps if anything is to go by, then the last we could see of Raila, or if any serious attempt is to go by, then perhaps maybe in 2027 he said as much that he has not said he's going to run, but that does not mean he's not going to run as well. He said that recently at the end of the year here. So my question to you is this: would it be important, or would it be of significance to Raila to work with the government of the day? Or what then would be the impact of a stronger or a weaker opposition to Raila in reference, or rather in relevance to 2027 elections?
That's a very difficult question, so let me just answer what I want to answer. First of all, I've told Kenyan leaders and politicians, especially those aspiring for high office of president, they have to move away from this fixed thinking that elections will be held after every 5 years. We're soon going to have situations where elections are held midstream. 2 years, 1 year, situations happen, and there's another election. I'm asking them to begin preparing themselves.
You're trying to say that somebody can get into power, shindwe na kazi.
Yes, na watu wachukue mtu mwingine. This is where we are headed. I'm surprised many politicians don't seem to see what I'm saying. They are waiting to see. They will get. Another thing I know is this: if you make it your attempt to think about 2027, immediately after you are elected, chances of you losing are very high, or not reaching there very high. The only way you can get into 2027 and the re-election becomes simple and straightforward for you is just to do what is good for the people of this country, not the leaders. And that brings me to maybe what is the closest to answering your question. Whether Raila plays with the ball with Ruto, works with Ruto, or maintains a strong opposition, what is good for him 2027 and so forth. I want to tell you this. The leaders of this country can be compromised to the point of diluting opposition to the point of non-existence. They can go down, bend down backwards to please the president and lick his boots if they want. They can give him all the peace they want through simple compromises and things of that nature. But the final push will come from the people of this country. So you may be Raila and think, once I've talked to Ruto and I've gone slow on him, and my followers, my leaders on my side are working with the government and what, you may do that directly or through proxy or under the water. But the people of this country will offer the opposition required to government. Why? We are going into very dangerous times ahead. And it's not this country, it's a global problem. But whether problems are global or not, whether government is doing enough or not is besides the point. Because when hunger bites, when people suffer to a certain point in this country, and they see that the politicians have ganged up against them, the people will gang up against the politicians. Yeah. So it is of no consequence whether Raila finally supports Ruto in his presidency or not. What is important, what has their working together have to do with the cost of living of this country? It does not, it may not be of no consequence if Ruto gets all leaders from Nyanza and everywhere on his side. But when Kenyans go to bed and they're hungry today and tomorrow, they will offer the opposition which the leaders have refused to offer. That's what I'm trying to say.
Definitely, there you have it from Professor Herman Manyora himself here, talking about how the opposition chief is supposed to actually manage himself. And yes, here we are, we're waiting to see what he will do in as far as politics in this country is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to stop at that point, but as I say, do not fail to subscribe to our channel here, and of course hit the button so that whenever we upload any content, then the YouTube will automatically notify you. Tune in to some of our programs that we also have here, of course, with Jadil Kabiro and Richard Mwenje, and of course Professor here having his own stand-up videos coming to you. All these are productions of the Nairobi Review. Till we meet again, have yourself a very lovely day. My name is Evans Okinyi.